so bad, but also very on brand for Essex. How did that get approved? And this one I think is probably the rudest one, so I saved the best till last. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, I am Yvette and I moved to the UK in May last year. Before I even jump into this video, I wanted to quickly say I had a look at some statistics, because I tend not to look at my statistics because I don't like thinking, I don't know, I just like to make what I want and not worry too much about, like, you know, the numbers of everything. However, I have noticed that 75% of you are not subscribed. So if this is your second time viewing my face, I urge you to consider subscribing. If this is your third, it's kind of, it would be like you should. The precedent is that you should probably subscribe. This is your fifth time seeing my face. Like, I don't want to be the one to say it, but it'd be kind of rude not to. I'm only joking, of course, but please do subscribe if you feel so inclined, because I would love to have more of you in my community. And when you subscribe, that really helps out the back end and keeps the overlords at Google happy. But I will stop absolutely self-promoting, but we'll jump into the video, because this is one someone suggested to me on Instagram. I love it you guys message me on Instagram. It's like the easiest way to get my attention. I mentioned this initially in one of my like favorite things about England video. However, I thought it was worth the video on its own. It is weird British place names and rude British place names, if I'm honest, because the Brits love a bit of cheeky wordplay, which is very fun. So I thought I'd go through some of my favorites that I found, and you can share some of your favorites below. I think the comments on this one are gonna get like, so I have on the back end, I block some words, just like, you know, the N word, anything that I like just don't want in the comment section, not in like, that could upset anyone. And I suspect some of the comments are gonna get flagged as inappropriate, but I don't care, do it anyway. It's all the more fun for me to try and like read the comments, because then I'll read them and then like panic because I think someone's insulting me, and then I realize it's on my British insults video and they're just answering the question I asked. But without further ado, crazy British place names. First one is in Lincolnshire. It's called Bitchfield. I wonder if these are not pronounced how you would normally say it. It'd be like bitch, like, you know how like Lincolnshire is like, if you were to read it, I don't know, phonetically or like an American, it'd be Lincolnshire, no, Lincolnshire. So I wonder if it's like Bitchfield or Field or something, or Biatch or Biatchfield or something. So it's not quite as offensive, but I like to think on these, it's like when you're going to the tax office and you're like putting in your details, and it's like you've got to fill out Bitchfield on your like license. So I find that quite amusing to imagine. But yeah, Bitchfield. So I did some research on Bitchfield, and apparently it's Old English. It's Bill's field, and Bill was like Old English for sword. So it was like supposed to be like, you know, King Arthur-y, you know, Arthurian legend type stuff. And it became Billsfield, that morphed into Bitchfield, so it's actually got nothing to do with crazy dogs or mean women. Next one, I don't know, I think I'm worried this video is going to get flagged. Next one is in mid-Cornwall, but it's in the north part of mid-Cornwall. And it was originally came from the name Hillcocks. See, that could be pronounced Hillock or something, but anyways, it's Cox. C-O-C-K-S, the way you expect it to be spelt. Now this one, whoever lives there, they must have so many issues trying to register their details, because I think it must look like such a joke if you're like, you know, 17 Phalange Street, Cox, England. It's like, no one's gonna believe you, but there you go. I want to know if the people in Cox have like a good sense of humor about it, or if they're like very pretentious and then they're like, oh, how dare you find that funny, it's a very prestigious name. But really it's pretty funny. So the next one I like, it's because it's like, it's a bit cheeky but not outright. Like Cox is obviously like straight up like, what were they thinking? The next one is a bit more like, is it a bit isn't meant to be what I think it is. And it's called Netherthong. It's in Yorkshire, which makes me think of how they would say it in their accent, which I would love to do for you, but we know I can't do accents as per my last video. So obviously the way my brain goes with this is that nether region, thong being a woman's underpants. Obviously for me, thong is also like a flip-flop. Or I've now started calling them flippies, because like to go from thong to flip-flop is a lot of extra words. We know Australians are lazy when it comes to language, so I like my flippers or my flippies, which is also like shortening, which is kind of still another stereotype. But anyways, so yeah, there's a few different reasons, but nether thong makes me think of someone wearing a thong on their nether regions, so it definitely can't be confused with the Australian slang, unfortunately for them. I wonder, I need to go to these places. If you're from any of these places, tell me if there's like tourist stores that like play up this, because like if you bought a pair of flip-flops and it had like Netherthong on it, that would be pretty funny, but it might be a bit too like on the nose, because like you have to know Australian slang, which I don't know how big the Australian population of Yorkshire is. The next one in the same vein is nether wallop. So obviously the same logic applies in my opinion, like nether, south. Wallop being like a smack, so sounds like you're getting spanked. So we're going back down south again for the next one. It is in the southwest. Was that right? Getting my directions correct. And it is in, no, is it? Oh my gosh, no. Yes, Dorset. Yes, Dorset, southwest. Gosh, starting to question everything. It is Piddlehinton. Am I pronouncing that wrong? It's a bit of a mouthful. It sounds like piddle, which is like when a dog relieves themselves. Piddlehinton. I think that one's not too rude. There are definitely worse ones like cocks, but definitely enough to, yeah, raise an eyebrow or two. But I do like they also have nearby Puddletown, so I'm guessing this area must rain a lot and get a lot of like water pooling around, I guess. Because like I like to think of like what happened to get this name, you know, because like Surrey Hills is like, there are hills and it is in Surrey, you know, so like it's pretty straightforward. So what happened in Piddleton or in Puddletown? Okay, this one, next one might be my absolute fave, because like we just said, I like to think about like how they got their names, or like how people try and like live life with this as their address. The next one is Shitterton. Shitterton. How did that get approved? So it's actually named, because I looked it up because I'm interested in this sort of thing. Essentially, it is actually named because there is a sewer there, so it's not completely different from what it says. There used to be a sewage stream there, I guess, and there's a ye old English word which is like sounds like shitter, and so they named it Shitterton because it's on a sewer stream or something. So it quite literally means the place by the sewer. So sorry to the residents of Shitterton. I can't imagine the pain you go through on a daily basis. Next one is Wetwang, and this one is probably one of the funnier ones. Like Shitterton's funny, but then Wetwang's just like silly funny, you know what I mean? Like it sounds like some schoolboy humor, you know? It's not like... So the reason it got the name Wetwang was because there is a place nearby called Driffield, I think I'm pronouncing that right, which essentially in the old English meant dry field. And so Wetwang was a way of saying wet field, is the theory. Or there's also this whole other theory about like Vikings, but I don't know if I buy that. It's probably the wet, like everything I've noticed is very literal, you know, right next to the sewer, blah, blah, blah. It's probably because it was wet, like Puddleton. So we're going east, southeast for the final one. And this one I think is probably the rudest one. So I saved the best till last. It is, I don't even want to say it. I'm really concerned that these aren't actually rude and I'm just being quite literal in how I pronounce them, and so they're coming out quite rude. So I'm gonna say, I think it's pronounced in Essex, fingering hoe. Now a hoe is just a prominent point of land, a finger is like a point of land in a land, like, so fingering hoe actually refers to the people who live on the finger of land on the heel of the river, is what it actually means, because I think hoe means heel of the river and then finger of land is like the part of the land. So fingering a hoe. That sounds so bad, but also very on brand for Essex. But yes, that is all I have for you today. I just thought it would be pretty funny to go through some of the more creative names for the UK. But yeah, there's so many of these. I think, yeah, you have to tell me, because I know there's so many more, but they were just some of the ones, because I wanted to give you the ones that I found, but also the why, because I think it's funny to laugh at the name, but to make it a bit more interesting, I should tell you why it's named a crazy name. So hopefully you enjoyed this, made you laugh, taught you something. Hopefully, maybe you can teach me in the comments. If not, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, because it helps me out with the algorithm. And if you liked this video and you want to see me again, and or it's your 5th or more time seeing my face, you should definitely subscribe so I can see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.